Recently, it spread around family that I'm sort of good at doing pet portraits, and one of them has decided to commission me for Christmas. The problem is, he needs it for Sunday evening, and we only started discussing it on Friday night. I've got less than 2 days to do this, so let's go. I have been sent so many photos, but only a couple of them actually have both dogs together. At the top is Tika, and the 168-pound sleeping beauty in the front is Denali. So, I've spent some time in Photoshop, and here are the changes I've made. First up, Denali's arm has been moved. I'm not really sure why, I just like it more here. Poor Tika was hanging off the edge of the canvas, so of course I moved her further in. And I also took out some elements that I felt made things cluttered. Next up, I did a few colour adjustments. And finally, I felt like the whole image needed some more colour and interest. So I went and put a blanket in. Pink ended up working best. I think that's because we have almost a primary colour thing going on, with the blue, yellow, and almost red. Can you tell I'm stalling? That's because the next step is... Every painting has an ugly stage, and I can say that for 80% of mine, that's the drawing stage. I don't always use a grid to establish proportions, but if it's someone's pet, you can bet I'm using every tool at my disposal. And speaking of tools, I hate blunt pencils. Recipe for disaster and feels horrible to use. Now that is what a pencil should be. I think the reason I see this as an ugly stage is all the mess. Smudges from my hand, squiggles meant to represent highlights, eye-shaped weirdness that I'm sure I'll fix later. The pencil layer is there as a guideline. Its edges will be softened or hidden altogether with shadows, but on its own, yeah, not a fan. It may look like I'm speeding through, but this process took over an hour. It's important I get things right. After all, everything I do from this point onward is using these marks as its foundation. But finally, my least favourite part is complete. This painting has 3 main colours, blue, yellow and pink, and I wanted to make sure there was a really clean separation between all 3. I vaguely remember being taught somewhere that with paint you should work thinnest to thickest, so you're going to see a lot of washes being used in the creation of this piece. To thin my paint, I used a mix of water and acrylic matte medium, because water on its own was just a bit too runny for me. When I added shadows in these early stages, I just did extra layers with the colours I already had. And I feel like I should add a slight disclaimer here. I still haven't fully worked out how to record my painting process without a huge amount of glare, and I know that sometimes it gets pretty bad. So thank you for putting up with it ahead of time. I do have to say, I love how I started this piece. It was both a fast and effective way to get started, and is definitely becoming a permanent part of my workflow moving forward. For the rest of day 1, I add highlights, refine shadows, and spend most of my time working on the pink blanket. You know what? I think it's time we enjoy it in our first proper time-lapse.
Yeah! Good job! It's all done. Did you just lick my camera? Was that tasty? Are you good?
Welcome back. It's day 2, and we've still got a long way to go. Miraculously, the dark blue from last night was still wet, so I started the morning by using up the last of it. Once there was only a few drops left, I mixed in some brown, and a lot of water, and placed it in areas I felt were too blue. It also ended up being a fantastic shadow colour for the blanket, so that worked out nicely. I love looking at the reference image and working out which parts should be warm or cool toned. I know there's a science to it, and it's definitely something I'd like to practice more in the future. Now, the glare is awful for this next part, so I'll try and keep it brief. I mixed a super dark, warm toned purple, and this is the closest to black I'll be getting in the entire painting. I wanted to use it quite sparingly, but end up using it quite a bit in washes later on. I want their faces to be key focal points, and that means really pushing the contrast with super dark darks, and later on, I'll also be adding the brightest highlights. Now for one of my favourite parts of this piece. I am so happy Denali was wearing this collar when the photo was taken. Super detailed, high contrast, lovely colours, and exceptionally fun to paint. I did actually debate removing it at the beginning. I was worried it would pull too much focus away from their faces and overwhelm the composition of the entire piece, but I'm glad I kept it. That being said, please give your opinion in the comments below. Is the collar too much? Does it overwhelm the painting? Or does it add some much needed detail? You'll have to let me know once the whole thing is finished. And now, we're on to the final stretch. Some final details and a background cleanup are all that stands between me and handing this piece over. I think we can finish up with one last time lapse. What a joy this was to create. At the moment of recording, the painting is now on its way to its new home, and I have to say, I miss it. I caught myself looking at this spot in the kitchen, and seeing it empty doesn't feel great. My only hope is that if I like it so much, its new owners will too. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. If you enjoyed, hit that like button, and if you want to, stick around for some after painting thoughts. Welcome to listening to me ramble. Okay, so something clicked whilst making this. It isn't the first time I've experienced it. I've had maybe 3 clicky moments since my return to painting like 6 months ago. But this one was pretty huge. I don't know what I'm going to want to create in the future, but for now I can say with certainty I want to create more artwork of people's pets. I've also had this thought for a long time that I'd like to do something involving video games, and I think pets from games could be a super cute series. You've got that dog from Skyrim, dog meat from Fallout, like the unnamed cat from Stardew Valley. Let me know what you think, give me more ideas, what video game animals would you want to see, but I think we're going to have a lot of fun on this channel. Or maybe I'll paint them live on Twitch, who knows. Thank you for sticking around. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!